For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble, and thank you for tuning in during Celebrity Death Week. It's been interesting. Yeah. Here's the thing, all right? So anytime there's like a big entertainment story and you get the notification on your phone, right? You're like, oh, this celebrity was arrested. Oh, this one, whatever, had some meltdown. And oh, this one died. You have to realize that I've been an entertainment reporter, host, correspondent, whatever word you want to use. I've been doing that for 20 years. So yes, I retired from our syndicated radio show 4 years ago, but I've stayed on as entertainment correspondent for a bunch of our broadcast partners, the stations that would run our radio content. And so when there is a big story, namely a celebrity death, that's kind of what ends up happening is I then jump on all of these radio stations and give the updates, right? Just like you would see on CNN or whatever news channel you watch, right? They're going to bring in their entertainment guy or their sports guy or whoever it is to kind of cover that story. Well, I'm that entertainment guy for a lot of these stations. So, and I, I've got a sick sense of humor. If you've been listening to this show for any length of time, you know that. And so for me, I sit there and go, okay, if it's a Monday morning and we get a celebrity death on a Monday morning, it's going to be one hell of a week. Sure enough, wouldn't you know it? So as just the regular everyday person getting those notifications about, oh, so-and-so died, you have to realize then that's when the work starts for people like me, right? Because now here's the thing is that we find out about this probably maybe about an hour, sometimes 2 hours before it kind of goes live. We have a newswire service. So, we on our office, like our company or whatever, we don't get like the TMZ notification and go, oh, so-and-so died. No, there's actually a newswire service where it's being reported somewhere by an agency, and then it goes out to other media where you then get your stories from, and you can post those or work your own angle on a story. So we have certain notifications when there's entertainment. Like there's different levels. It's hard to explain. If you've seen the show The Newsroom back in the day with Jeff Daniels, they kind of explain it there. So there's certain like colors of, like an orange. If a story's labeled one color, it's kind of like a major story or it's developing or whatever it is. So, and you can set that for anything, whether it's sports, business, international, war, money, disease, any kind of topic. And so for us, obviously, it's entertainment. So, we get the notification, early Monday morning that Malcolm-Jamal Warner, right? So, when it's a Monday morning, I sit here and I say to one of our producers, it's going to be a week. It's going to be a week because what happens is we've got about that hour to kind of pull together information, details, some background. If it's an older celebrity, a lot of times you've kind of got pre-written obituaries, their history, so it's not hard to do. And then we're on, right? So then I go from station to station calling in. It could be, 4 stations, or if it's a big enough story, it could be, 12 stations. And I'm just going back and forth to each one of them. And of course, because this is timely, they want me on as soon as possible. And then if there's an update when we have the celebrity reactions, right? When Hollywood then chimes in, I might come back to them in the next hour. So it's basically this sort of unending loop of 3-4 hours of, okay, I'm on with station 1. All right. And now I'm on with station 2. Okay. Now I'm on with station 3. They don't know, like the listeners in that city or whatever don't know that I'm, jumping back and forth. And so it's very exhausting because, the news is coming in quickly. You have to remember, okay, I'm talking to Scottsdale, Arizona now. And then the next time it's Alva, Oklahoma. And then it's something up in Canada. And And then our team is compiling, watching social media, and then looking at, okay, here's how the celebrities are reacting. So they're now compiling sort of a second version of the story that we'll then do an hour later. And then we will regroup in the evening, and then we'll tape our entertainment headline show for the next morning, because we'll kind of we're not breaking the news at that point, right? Because it's already 24 hours old, but we will now kind of do the big summary of it all. And, it ends up being a very long day. So then you multiply that by how many celebrities we've reported on this week. Ozzy Osbourne, Hulk Hogan, and you're just kind of like, so and I'm going to use the word funny. What's funny is on Wednesday when we had the Ozzy Osbourne story, I had said to one of our stations, and believe it or not, this was actually recorded because my mic is always live when we're in between the segments. I had said to them, like, all right, well, we got another one here. We're going to have a third one, right? So who's your pick? And I jokingly said it would be Justin Bieber having an overdose. And the station kind of laughed. And I just said, like, yeah, I've been doing this long enough. I know how it's going to work. We've already, like, it starts with that Monday morning. When it's Monday morning, it's just going to be. So I'm going to recap the week that was for me coming up on the Scribble, starting right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
JB here on The Scribble. Not even going to lie, by the way, this week's show was a pre-taped episode. Like, I don't work Fridays unless it's something, like a celebrity death. Of course, I'm going to come in on a Friday. But for the summer, this podcast, we taped the entire summer, probably about 2 months ago. No, yeah, maybe about a month and a half ago. The deceit of it all, isn't it? Right? And so I just said to our team on Thursday night, I was like, you know what, just fuck it. Like, there's just so much happening. I might as well come on and talk about, some timely information. But let me just rewind to last weekend, because my husband and I, we've discovered boating, B-O-A-T, on the water, right? Boats. Now we haven't bought one yet, but probably about 2 months ago, because we're in California, so that's boating season is kind of, you can do it all year round, but you don't really want to when it's winter. So as soon as spring came in, we kind of got this first blast of heat. We had a heat wave in the spring. I can't remember if it was March or April. I don't remember, but it was early. And so we had, for one weekend, said, why don't we rent a boat, just as a little small boat. We'll take the dogs. We'll go. We can just go kind of cruising around, and then not a massive boat, but one that we could just maybe sleep in overnight, or there would be room for us to sleep if we wanted to. And we just had such a good time. It was just so much fun. So we had that for a weekend, a boat rental kind of a thing. And then what happened was we met. We were at the marina, or whatever you call it, right? Is the marina is what it's called when you the boat parking lot? So we just struck up a conversation with this guy who was there, and he's asking, do we have a boat? I said, no, it was just a rental kind of a thing. And so he was saying that when he got into it, what his interest was, and the one that he has. And so we said, okay, well, can we see it? Let's go and let's check out your boat. So we go outside and we walk to the water, to the dock. Is that called a dock? The pier? Marina? I don't even know. So we walk out, and it's just this yacht. This is not a boat. Like you're just little metal tin fishing boat. No, this is extreme. And so he showed us around inside, and we're kind of like, wow, this is really nice. And so obviously we're not in a position to drive something like that, right? That would be like me just going and buying a 747 plane, and it's like, okay, well, now I'm just going to fly it. Well, no, right? Obviously you need a bit of education on something like that. And they're also just really expensive, and we have a lot of money, but certainly not that much. so we're having, the guy's showing us around, and of course it's got, bedrooms and a bathroom and a kitchen and a shower and upstairs, downstairs, three floors, because there's sort of like I was going to say a basement. God, I really need to work on my terminology. I've got to learn this if I'm going to be a boater. But there's the lower deck, I guess is what it's called, and then kind of like the main deck, and then the top, up at where the steering, I'm horrible at this, right? This is why we just rent it. We just pay the guy, and it's like, you drive us around. I don't need to know anything about the boat. I just know that I'm having fun laying here, or, whatever. I don't know. I don't need to know the names of the instruments that drive this thing. I don't care. I just want to lay out in the sun on the water. So anyway, we have this conversation with the guy, and then my husband kind of says, like, well, what would it cost for you to like be our driver, be our captain of, like, just kind of drives around. If we were to say, like, hey, can we not borrow your boat? I mean, because you would be driving it, obviously, right? But like, what would you charge? And so, we kind of went back and forth, and he's retired, and he's, it's kind of a hobby of his, and he lives on the boat most of the year and whatever. And so by himself too, no family, no spouse, no pets, nothing. And that's how he likes it. He's a really nice guy. And so, they kind of went back and forth with, if you could do this. And so we're like, we'll just drive out, but we're not expecting to like boat, 14 hours a day. I mean, we can just go out in the water, just, not cruise, but like float, whatever you want to call that, right? Just kind of anchor and then whatever. And, so we're not burning all your gas, all day, every day. And, we'd have some food and booze or whatever. We're both, I'm a professional, right? I run the businesses and whatever. My husband's a fitness model. So we're just an old married couple kind of wanting to get away, right? So the guy had, kind of named his price or whatever and figured it out. And we said, okay, well, we'll be in touch. So then we did this a few months, about a month ago, and we'd spent a weekend just to kind of check it out, right? Because we didn't want to, like, if this guy's really particular about his property and whatever, but, because you're kind of renting it out to us at the same time, right? Like, it's almost like an Airbnb for a boat, but the owner is staying there too. So, it was great because the boat is so big that he could really just sort of keep to himself. And normally what he does all day anyway is plays on his phone, or he sits and, watches TV, or he'll even just fish. So, there was one day that we didn't even really see him, which is kind of interesting because like we're out in the middle of the water and it's like, is he still here? Did he go overboard? Like, where the hell is he? But he's just a quiet older guy. He's in his 60s. Well, yeah, early 60s, I think he is. So, it's not like he's some like 85-year-old man who's like fallen down somewhere. We've got to find him, but he's just a quiet, guy. And the dogs love him. They'll go and, run and see him. And he kind of, I guess, likes the company and the attention. So it's been a win-win for us. It's really good. And so, we kind of did like a test weekend just to see, is he going to be, in the way? Is he going to be kind of creepy? Because again, we're going to be out in the middle of nowhere too, right? So you kind of build a trust. And at the same time, my husband was like, he's retired and he owns this like multi-million-dollar boat. I mean, he's not, he's an older guy, whatever. Seems safe enough. But yeah, just to be safe, we, did the weekend or whatever. And we didn't go too far. It's not like we went, but so it was good. So then we, last weekend, so this was, it was Wednesday, I guess we reached out to him and said, hey buddy, what are you doing? We know what he's going to be doing. Nothing. So, we said, could we come out Friday? We'll do the weekend. And if that's, if it's cool with you, whatever. And the arrangement is that for the money that he's paid, that, he kind of, he's at the dock when we get there. He likes cooking too. So we're kind of like, this is perfect. If you want to like cook for us too, that's great. So we're kind of like renting the place and we have a concierge in a sense. And so he's totally fine with that. And we're like, this is amazing. It's expensive. I'm not going to lie. It's expensive. So, So we were kind of like, okay, he asks, like what food we want or whatever. And then because we have the dogs with us, we do go on land for them to do like a bathroom break, every few hours. So it's not like that ends up, I think, being the most annoying part. So we might have to get some like artificial turf or something, but they don't know how to go to the bathroom on something like that. So yeah, that's kind of the bitch of it, is like, 3 times a day having to like, pull up to a dock somewhere and then find some grass and then, but it was last weekend, so we went out on Friday and we said, okay, well, it was great. Monday morning, we'll come back to the dock. We'll, get in the car and we'll go back to West Hollywood. And so we were just, we're not morning people, so it wasn't going to be like 7 a.m., but it was probably about, 8 or 9 or so. And then all of a sudden I get the alert from our team in Canada who's watching the Newswire, and they go and say, we've got a story coming. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, from The Cosby Show. We'd met him back at the TV Land Awards in 2011 in New York. So we've got, a bunch of, content. We've got some, we've got pictures or whatever from the red carpet and other Cosby Show people. And so we're going to jump on the stations with that story. Okay. So they're working on it. They're getting that to me. Now, because what would happen is we're so far away from the studio in West Hollywood. Now, because I'm an entertainment host and I know that these stories can happen anytime, anywhere, I do travel with the equipment that I can broadcast from an airport, a hotel, now in the middle of the ocean. We've got that technology. And so I said to them, okay, well, I'll do this from the boat. Obviously, we're out in the middle of nowhere, so we're not going to have, the noise of traffic or anything like that. So that's fine. Nobody will know where I am. They'll think that I'm in the studio. And so we go live on the stations at, 11 o'clock or whatever it was, and then through the afternoon. And so my husband's kind of like, well, I just get to hang out for the afternoon then. And he loves it because, I'm not nagging him or, saying anything. So I do that. Now, so then that's a full Monday. That ends up being kind of the full day. And then, Tuesday was, we'd had one of our employees come out. And so he was on the boat too. And we were going to just take him for, I think it was for 2 days, I think he was coming. So yeah, then my husband had something to do on Tuesday, while I just kind of relaxed because it was kind of a long day. And then we had other things going on with our broadcasts. And so we were now it's Wednesday morning and we're about to come into the city. We're about to come and land. And same thing again. Now we've got this alert that Ozzy Osbourne died. So again, we had about an hour until the story was going to hit all of the outlets. Okay, let's do this because, Sharon was on our show, I don't know how many times for America's Got Talent. So we bring up a whole bunch of clips because I know that I've talked with her about Ozzy, I don't know how many times. I've never interviewed him, but, she was on the show quite a bit, and I remember the conversation. There's just some celebrities, when you've interviewed them enough times, you kind of remember the things that you've talked about. She's one of those people. And so, okay, that's a big story, right? Because he's, with all due respect to Malcolm-Jamal, Ozzy is, a much bigger star. So we knew that was going to take up, again, a big chunk of Wednesday. So rather than, we don't have like the 2 hours or whatever it is to kill to come back into the city, set up in the radio studio, it's just going to be too long. We need me on the radio right now. All right, well, let's just do another day, buddy. Can you take us around for another day on your boat? And he's like, yeah. Because here's the thing. I'll fine. I wasn't going to tell you much. We pay him $2,000 a day to, use his boat. So, he's looking at this going, fuck, this is like, what, $10,000 already you guys are going to pay me? All right, yeah, do another loop. Let's go. So, and I'm like, whatever, that's, who cares? So we have Wednesday, and this is a really long day now because obviously that's, few more segments than we had with Malcolm-Jamal. And again, my husband and the employer kind of like, well, it's just, I guess it's another day on the water. Whatever. And they had computers so they could do their work too. But I have to go and hide basically, right? Because I'm just going from one station to the next, to the next, to the next. So Wednesday evening rolls around and they're like, all right, well, we're going to do, some dinner or whatever. And I said, like, I just need to nap. Like, I'm just so beat. Like, it's kicking my ass. And I ended up going to lay down. Just thinking that I was gonna, just nap for a little bit, and they said I was out for 4 hours, and this was like 7 o'clock in the evening. It really takes a lot out of you. Here's the thing: it's one thing to work a job that you're sitting at a desk, or whatever, but talking and having that energy, right? Like you see that with like some artists after a concert, right? They're just dead, right? You have so much energy that you expel, and so that was me on Wednesday. And so again, it was Wednesday that I'd said to one of the stations, like, there's going to be another one this week. So, get ready for it. So now we're Thursday morning, right? I come out of my coma of sleep. Thursday morning, it's, 8 o'clock or so. And we're like, all right, we'll get back into the city, whatever. And then, sure shit, wouldn't you know it? Another blaring alarm on the newswire, Hulk Hogan. Okay. All right, now here we go. So now I'm pretty sure that the guy, now he's heard me on the radio, so like obviously, I've talked about what I do and whatever. I'm sure he's kind of like, okay, there's something fishy about these people here, right? Like it was supposed to be 3 days tops, and now it's going on 4 and 5 and 6. And that's the good thing about what I do on the radio or whatever, is that we could actually, like, he could tune in and hear me on the station, so he knew that it was legitimate. But I'm sure he's like, get these people off my fucking boat already. But he's a nice guy. I heard that he has, like, special dog toys and treats for the guy. So he's actually gone out and, like, bought them. So, yeah, it's like they've got a new grandpa. So Thursday happens and it's Hulk Hogan, and I was like, oh my god. Now I remember Hulk was on the radio with me. We taped it on my birthday. We taped it on August 1st. So of course our team in Canada, we've got we've got every single fucking clip from 20 years of radio. So they pull up the Hulk Hogan thing. They're like, okay, we'll clip them. So we'll get some sound bites, and this is what we know. This is what we don't know. Remember, this is, like I said, 9:30 in the morning. And as new information comes in while I'm doing the chats with the stations, then they'll update it, they'll throw it into my script or whatever it is, or they'll just tell me, okay, this is what we know now, so for the next station, include that. And so now we're on Thursday afternoon, and so we've got my employee, one of our coffee employees, who was supposed to just come for 2 days, is now, he's on the boat now. We've essentially kidnapped him, is what's happened. I mean, there could be worse things, though, right? Like, it could be I'm stranded in an airport, right? You've seen those flights canceled and people laying on the floor, for 2-3 days because there's no planes going. You're on a fucking luxury yacht, asswipe, all right? Stop complaining, or else, here, we'll get you that little boat and you can paddle to shore if you need to get home. So that's kind of funny too, where it's like, of all the, it's laughable at the same time, right? Oh, just another day on the yacht? Okay. So we've kind of just sort of come to have a laugh about it. I should point out, by the way, for the record, that I am still on the boat right now. We haven't. No, seriously. We don't, again, normally work on a Friday in the summer, but I said, like, just for old time's sake, we're heading back, by the way, to the coast, to the land, to the dock, whatever you call it. So we've said to the guy, we're getting off your boat today because this will be 1 week, when it was really supposed to just be about 3 days. And I'm just sitting here going, wow. And all I need right now, because it's like, what is it? 7:44 in the morning, it looks like. I'm just waiting because it's around the 9 o'clock hour that we're getting these announcements this week. So maybe we'll have a different episode in a few hours. I don't know. But anyway, so that's the life of an entertainment host on a week like this, which I don't really recall. I know that we've had some sort of back-to-back. We've had like 2, I think, when did we had like Dr. Ruth and then Richard Simmons and then somebody else kind of back-to-back-to-back, which again, they were celebrities, but certainly not, Ozzy Osbourne, I would say, would be maybe a B-list celebrity, but he's just been in the news so much, right, with the Black Sabbath, like his final show and, things like that. So, Dr. Ruth, yes, a celebrity, but, Richard Simmons had sort of been in hiding for years anyway, but this is, it's a marathon. It's definitely time-consuming and taxing. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, I will tell you now about each of those 3. I guess I kind of did already, right? All right, so I don't really need to go more into it, but we do have this segment with Hulk Hogan from my birthday, and this was back in 2014. And we're going to play that for you on the Scribble right after this.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. SpeakFreeWithJB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Oh, you know, he's one of the most loved wrestlers of all time. He's joining us on the line to talk about the 30th anniversary of WrestleMania. WWE star Hulk Hogan joining us on the line. Hi there.
What's up, my brother? Thanks for the time today.
Well, no problem. Thanks for joining us. Now, you're a legend and idol, really, to so many people. I just turned 32, and for as long as I can remember, my brothers and I sitting and watching with my grandpa. He loved it. Give me the backstory, though. How did you get involved in wrestling?
The backstory is, brother, 30 years ago at WrestleMania 1, you were sitting there in your diapers watching me.
Yeah.
Backstory, dude. So I've been around forever. Actually, I started wrestling before you were born, so there was a lot of Hulkamania going on before you ever saw it. So you don't know the backstory, but I started out as a musician, brother. I was playing music, rock and roll music. I was a studio musician in Atlanta. I was always a huge wrestling fan. And as the wrestlers would come in to hear my different bands play in different cities, I kind of like made friends with them, talked them into letting me have a tryout. And the first day they broke my leg, and the rest is history. I'm here.
And I guess I should back up a little bit even more to the fan appeal of wrestling in general. I mean, it spans generations. Grandparents watching with their grandkids, like I said. So why do people love wrestling so much?
Well, it's the ultimate entertainment package, you know. There's so many choices in the world today with cable and satellite TV and reality TV and global TV and marketing. And, I mean, there's just the internet and all the crazy stuff on YouTube. There's so many entertainment choices that the WWE is like the total entertainment package. It's not like a boxing match or a UFC match that might last 1 minute or one round or 30 seconds. You know, when you put your money down on the WWE, you know, you're going to get the 24-hour network. You're going to get, you know, the entertainment package that won't let you down. If it's a pay-per-view, it'll be 3 hours long, and it'll just deliver. So I think it gives people, you know, in the world today a chance to vicariously forget any issues they have, whether it be problems, good or bad, and just kind of like live vicariously through the entertainers in the WWE. That's why it's so popular.
I've got to ask, though, for those people who say that wrestling is fake, what do you say to those people?
Well, I say it's the wrong word. I say, you know, wrestling's predetermined. We know who's going to win or lose, but, you know, if you say it's fake, maybe they could explain to me why I've got 2 knee replacements, 2 hip replacements, and 9 back surgeries. So it's fake.
You're right, those injuries are very real. Let's talk about that, though. Like, what sort of training and preparation goes into a match, then, before you hit the ropes?
Oh, for me, I just make sure I'm in good shape. You know, I've always, once you get in the ring and you get your balance and your coordination and you know where you're at, and you're a professional and your timing with hitting the ropes and everything is good. That's all the preparation I need. I don't talk, I don't prepare, I don't choreograph a match. The greatest wrestlers of all time, it's an art form where you listen with your heart and listen with your ears and you do what is correct for the building and the atmosphere. The ambiance needs to be created, the drama, the energy, the excitement, you know. And so the greatest wrestlers are the ones that play to the crowd. A lot of other wrestlers, you know, that don't really understand the art form or haven't been around long enough try to, you know, plan things out or walk through it, contrive matches, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's just having the mindset and the energy to walk out there going, okay, I got this. I'm going to tear this down. I'm going to give it to him times 10.
For sure. And we've got to get back to the music. All right, we're going to have more with Hulk Hogan right after this. We are back talking with the legendary Hulk Hogan. I think you're the first real man to make a red and yellow boa look cool. Tell me about your look and how that came about.
I kind of stole it from Ronald McDonald, you know. he was strutting around with the red and yellow forever, and it worked for him, so I stole it. I tried different colors. I went with the red, I went with the turquoise, and I went with the white. But the one thing that always stuck out in my mind as a kid when I used to go to the wrestling matches was a guy named Angelo Poffo. He was Macho Man Randy Savage's father.
Right.
And I remember no matter what wrestlers wrestled, no matter what matches they had, how much they were bleeding or how long they were, how crazy the matches were, it didn't matter who was the main event. The one thing that always stuck out to me was this guy with this unbelievable tan and these canary yellow trunks on. And that was Macho Man's dad, Angelo Poffo. So when the time came right, I said, something, I'm going to try those canary yellow trunks. And brother, did it ever work.
It did. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that kids always have looked up to you, and I mentioned earlier, in our family that certainly was the case. Kids seem really important to you, Hulk. Why is that?
Well, at the end of the day, I came up with this really positive character, the trained prayers, vitamins, the all-American hero from California. I had no idea, that I was going to be branded a role model. So when it first started happening and the kids were coming to me, I wasn't ready for it. And then I got to the point where I understood what was expected of me, and I got used to it. And the Make-A-Wish kids were coming, and I understood what I meant to these people and what I had to do, and what I was doing was from my heart. And then the kids kept coming to me, and they still come and see me, 35 years later, and I'm just grateful for it. But the thing that's more important is someone like John Cena, who has taken over, where I said the training, prayers, and vitamins, he says hustle, loyalty, and respect. He's kind of raised the bar. He's taken over where I left off. So it's really important that these new wrestlers understand that it's more than just a job. These kids look up to him. Cena has raised the mark and really made it obvious that these wrestlers are role models. So it means the world. I mean, to have the kids looking up to you, to have the kids follow you, it all of a sudden takes you from just thinking business to thinking, serving people and helping people. And that's much more important than just being a businessman.
The legendary Hulk Hogan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, my brother.
Today's best music with Jeremy Bradley. Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
JB here, back on the Scribble. We've gone over the 30-minute mark, but I'm going to because, like I said, I woke up before 7 a.m. to do this show for you today, and if you know me and my life, which I've talked about on the show a few times, that we generally will wake up at 11 or noon lately, so it's only now we're just passing 8 in the morning here on Friday. I'm going to talk as long as I want to fucking talk. I'm going to make it worth the while. But great times chatting with, Sharon Osbourne, and of course our thoughts and I don't do the thoughts and prayers thing, just our condolences, to the Osbourne family. Kelly, obviously, we also go back to those days of the E-Red carpets. I mean, she was a good friend to Joan Rivers, and Melissa Rivers was also a good friend to our radio shows, and so you kind of just look at these moments and go, I never met Ozzy, but I felt like I met him, just because obviously we've seen him, on a reality show and on concert stages or whatever it is, and to be in Sharon's presence. I think we won't play that clip. Oh, darn. Okay, well, go to speakfreecelebwatch.com. No, we don't have Sharon on there. Do we have Sharon on there? We'll have to play another clip. You can find Google or search out Jeremy Bradley red carpet or something and Sharon Osbourne or whatever, and maybe you'll find some of the clips because we do have them online still. But yeah, I mean it's just been a tough week. When you think about it in the celebrity world, we have you've got a TV star and and a movie star with Malcolm-Jamal Warner, and then a sports icon like Hulk Hogan. I guess that's also television as well, and then a music legend. You kind of hit all the points on that in celebrities. So that's it for me this week. I will talk to you next week, I believe. Is it a pre-taped show next week? I don't know. No, it's my birthday. Yeah, we taped it ahead of time. See, this is the thing. When I started doing the radio shows, we made it that, we're doing this live and it's, whatever. No, we fucking weren't doing it live. We taped it like 2 weeks earlier. We weren't doing this show live, but we had to keep up those appearances. And now I'm just like, yeah, no, we taped that 3 weeks ago. Yeah, we taped it a month ago. I'm not going to pretend. So, but I thank you for your attention this week, and I will talk to you on my birthday show next week. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Bye-bye for now.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up The Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com. Want more scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat